Good Mom and Monday.
You're here at the Mistaken Mama podcast. I'm Kaylee.
And I'm Mandee.
And we are your hosts. I'll bring us in.
Okay.
This week, we're going to be talking about something that might be relevant in our lives right now. Might not be. I guess we'll find out in, a couple of hours. Maybe tomorrow. Power outages and how to handle it with kids. But first, let's get into our wins, fails books.
Yes.
Which, books are a great way to get through a power outage.
Facts.
All right. Wins and fails.
Wins and fails.
I've got a win.
Okay, let's hear it.
I have officially completed my doula certification.
Yay. I did see that on Facebook.
Yes, I'm so excited, and I am this close to receiving my placenta endorsement, and I'm so excited.
That is very exciting.
Happy.
Yay.
I have a couple more classes that I need to do to complete all the endorsements that I wanted to add.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to add the postpartum, fertility, bereavement, and I think that's it because the other one is placenta. Yeah.
Okay.
So those additional 4 endorsements.
Nice.
Yeah, so I got the main labor doula one, and
That's exciting.
I'm so excited.
That's very
I've
exciting.
been wanting to get into this for a while, so
Yeah.
I'm here now.
You made it.
I made it.
Win for me. What's a win for me? The only thing I can think of is Michael and I yesterday had a very good conversation. I think we've talked about this kind of, where after, things are kind of like rocky, you're arguing, you're getting snappy with each other. And then Michael and I tend to have like one really big conversation. And sometimes it's a really big, like, argumentative conversation. And sometimes it's a really healthy conversation. Mm-hmm. And yesterday was a very healthy conversation. And we just sat on the couch and the kids were just like playing on the floor, and we just talked it all out, and nobody raised their voice. Nobody was like irritated. And we just expressed like how we've been feeling and what we need to work on with each other. And I don't know, we ended it and it just felt good. And I love having those conversations because I feel like then we get brought back together and things tend to die down as far as like getting snappy with each other.
Yeah.
Because him and I both, we tend to like bottle things up. And then we'll snap at each other for like the smallest things.
Yep, me and Thomas do that too.
Yeah. And so, but we're good.
Yay.
Yeah. So there's my win.
There's your win.
Deeper, but whatever.
Fail. So a fail also kind of has to do with the weather for us, whatever. So my husband has a truck.
Oh, yeah.
And trucks have large tires.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we don't have chains for this truck, and so we needed to get chains. And so I asked my husband, and this kind of has to do with a little bit of what you just said with like argumentative and snapping or whatever. So a few weeks ago, or maybe a couple months ago now at this point, I don't know when this was actually, I had been like, hey, why don't you do some research to figure out like what chains you need?
Yeah.
Okay. Easy peasy. Whatever. He goes and does that. And I had been like, why don't you give me the information too so that I can look too? He's like, no, it's okay. I got it.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to trust you. It's always a bad decision when I say that. And so he does all of that. He gets it, whatever. And he's like, yeah, it'll be $160 for all 4 tires. I was like, sweet. That's,
sounds
expensive, but
reasonable.
But reasonable. Okay. So we don't buy them at the time. But now we got like a weather warning where in our area we're supposed to be getting like freezing rain and snow, lots of wind, possible power outages, hence today's episode. Mm-hmm. And that's supposed to supposedly start tonight.
Right. I think today after 4 p.m.
Yeah, and then it's supposed to go all the way through the weekend, which today's Friday, January 12th for us today in real life. And so by the time you watch this, it has long since been this weekend, and I'll let you know next week when we do our wins fails if anything happened.
Yeah.
But so I called just to see if the ones that he wants are in stock, and he's like, oh yeah, I want the cam lock straight bar ones from Les Schwab. I was like, solid, got it, cool. Ring ring ring. Les Schwab, how may I help you? I'm like, hi, I want to see what your guys' stock is for this thing right here. So I give him the specs and the tire size and all that, which the tire size he gave me was not correct, but whatever, it's fine.
Okay.
It was only slightly off, but still wrong.
Still matters.
Still matters. And he's like, oh yeah, okay, so we have 5 of those in stock. I was like, okay, are those in pairs or like, is that in 4? You know, how many do I need to buy to put it on all 4 tires? It's like, okay, you need to buy 2 bags. I'm like, okay, cool. He's like, that'll be $400. So I was like, I'm gonna have to call you back. And then I text Thomas and I was like, $400. And he's like, this guy said that that's like the top of the line. What are you talking about? Blah, 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 blah. I start snapping at him over text message. And I'm doing this because I have I have the Mac.
Yes.
And Apple products. So
I was typing.
I was typing my text message.
Oh, and that's even more sassy when you can type it out.
Yeah. And he's like, what? There's no way. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, you don't need these ones. I was just so mad.
Oh, God.
And I ended up calling my mom and I was like, this is bullshit. I was just in a bad mood. I was having a bad day and I took it out on the situation.
Yep. Been there.
Turns out there was only 2 options for his tire size, which everywhere I called basically the same thing. There's like 1 or 2 options.
Oh.
It was like the quick fit from Les Schwab and then the cam lock ones from Les Schwab. Were the realistically the only 2. Yeah. And we ended up going with the quick fit because it was $150 for 1 bag. And he's like, I can just do 1 bag, put it on the back, call it good.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm not.
Did you get him through Les Schwab?
We got him through Les Schwab.
Because I'm pretty sure they have a thing, if you don't use them, you can return them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see after this weekend if we do that. But yeah,
I was going to say, I have chains, but they probably wouldn't fit his truck.
Probably not.
They might fit your car. Because they're for my car. So I would assume our tires are similar.
I would assume so. But yeah, so the fail was that I spent like 2 hours on the phone calling a whole bunch of other places just for them to be like, oh yeah, it's $200 and some odd per pair. And I'm like, no.
You're like, that's not an option.
No, thank you.
Oh, man.
I'm just like, fuck poor people. Because it looks like you're just going to go into the ditch. You're just going
to slide and crash.
Yeah. But last year he slid into a ditch.
Oh, right.
And so that was why this year I was like, we have to get you some sort of chains.
Yeah.
And apparently his truck is too big for like the cable ones, which doesn't matter. Cable ones were more expensive than the chain. Yeah.
Weird.
Right? Because there was one place that was like, we can do cables. Like, we have these ones that would fit those tires, but they're $215 per pair. And I'm like, the camlock ones that are designed for off-roading are $199 a bag. Excuse me? I'm like, and these ones are just for straight? Like, no.
Weird.
I'm not going to pay $430.
Yeah,
Fuck, no.
Yeah.
When I could pay just under $4? No.
Yeah.
So
weird.
It was just really frustrating. I was getting so flustered because like I would Google his, or not Google, I would go on to like O'Reilly's or AutoZone or whatever, put in his truck specs, and they would come up with like a bunch of different options. And they'd be like, this is compatible with your vehicle. And then I would call and be like, what's your stock? And they were like, oh, that doesn't fit your vehicle. Like, then why the hell is it? Okay, whatever. It's fine.
Weird. So is that what happened with Thomas? Is that he did the same thing and that's why he came up with the 120 option? Or 140 option?
He said 160. So, I mean, technically it ended up being, because we only went with 1 bag instead of 2, it ended up being less than he had originally said, because the quick fit ones ended up being like 147 or something like that. So it was like $10 less. But it was frustrating because that's what he said he would get for putting chains on all 4.
Right.
And so I was just flustered.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, part of it could be that he didn't remember what he said, and maybe it was like that much per bag for what he was looking at, or what. I have no idea what, where he got that number from, because that doesn't exist.
Right.
None of the options I saw were 160, so I don't know where that came from. But it was frustrating, and I got flustered. So that was my fail, and that was my day yesterday. And then the kids were just chaotic the rest of the day, and so me being flustered first thing in the morning just continued throughout the day.
Ugh. That's rough.
I'm loving it.
Oh, I had an embarrassing fail.
Oh, okay.
So we had to take, the other day, I had the cat's vet appointments in the morning, and then in the afternoon, I had to take Snow back for a blood draw. Okay. So I've been at this vet like
too many times
in a day. And
is it at least here in town?
No, it's in Albany.
That's cool.
Yeah. But when I took Snow, so we got there and we needed her blood drawn. She has a thyroid issue.
Which, love that. That's fun.
Yeah, that could be a fail in it of itself. But we all went because I can't lift snow and she can no longer jump out of the back of the car. So we all went, and Michael doesn't like needles, blood, and whatever. And so I said, I'll just take her in. That's fine. So he got her out of the truck. I let her go potty. If you see where this is headed.
I'm seeing something.
She peed. Okay. We get in. I weigh her. And I'm going to add this because it's a funny part. I weighed her and she was 118, which she's gaining weight. Anyway, besides the point, I check in. Sit down. I literally sit down. I've sat for 2 seconds. My butt cheeks just hit the floor. And she squats in shits in the lobby.
Oh my God.
So as the lady's checking me in, I'm like, I'm so sorry, but I'm going to need a bag because my dog just pooped in the lobby. Thankfully, they were so nice about it.
I'm sure it happens a lot.
Yeah. They were like, oh, no, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. She hands me the world's tiniest poop bag.
And you're like, Miss Ma'am, do you not see the type of dog that I have?
And I said, if this is the only size you have, I'm going to need about like 5 of them. And she's like, oh, and their counter's kind of high, so she couldn't see it. And so she looked over the counter. She goes, oh, wow, Snow, I didn't know you were such a big girl.
Did she not see the type of dog you had?
She did. Well, like I said, the counter's high, so she kind of just saw like the top of Snow.
Oh.
She wasn't really looking at her.
Snow is a Great Pyrenees.
Yeah. I mean, 118 pounds. She's a big girl.
Yeah.
And so then she handed me a few more bags. I cleaned it up, and then they came out and like wiped it down with like disinfectant and stuff. But then the vet tech came out to take us back to the room, and she's like, we need to get a quick weight on her. And I said, I already did. It was 118. And but I said we could weigh her again. And she's like, yeah, let's just do it again one more time just to make sure. And so she put her on there, and she was 117. So she crapped out a whole pound. And I was dying laughing. But yeah, that was so embarrassing. Thankfully, I was the only person in the lobby.
Yeah.
Because that would have been extra embarrassing if there was like other people in there or other animals or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Any updates on books for you?
I'm at the very end of A Court of Thorns and Roses. She just finished the Worm.
Oh, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. I am finishing up Breaking Dawn.
Nice.
In addition to reading all of my labor books.
Oh, yes.
And all of that stuff, which I'm not counting those
right
here. I've read a bunch of stuff like Placenta Wit, Placenta the Forgotten, Chakra. I've read It Sucked and Then I Cried. Like I've read a bunch of different books.
Yeah.
Or else I probably would have been done with Breaking Dawn already.
Yeah. Fair.
But I'm not sure what series or singular books I'm going to get into after the Breaking Dawn. I haven't decided yet. We'll see.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
let's get into power outages.
power outages.
Sounds like such a weird topic, but
It does.
like
But
saying that just now sounded like we're about to do a demonstration on electrical power outages.
yes. But like with it being, I mean, for us, it's mid-January. For some reason, I think of power outages of being like late December.
Yeah.
But no, we're in January. And for some reason, that's weird to me. I don't know why, but I also don't really think of like the new year as still being winter, even though it is the beginning of winter.
Same.
Because winter technically starts at the very end of December.
Yeah, it's like the 21st or 22nd or something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. I always...
Throws me off.
When it hits a new year, I'm like, yeah, it's supposed to be spring.
Yeah. Nope, not for a while.
Nope. Okay, it's still gloomy.
Not until like March.
Yep. Yep.
Which is so weird to think about because it doesn't register that way in my brain, even though, I mean, I understand it.
Yeah.
I just don't like that the season rolls over into the new year like that. It just seems messy.
I wish that the year ended at the end of a season.
Right?
Doesn't matter if it's winter or not. I mean, winter would make the most sense to me because spring, like starting a new...
Right?
You know.
Yeah, see? Mm.
Isn't like the Chinese New Year like right about spring?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it starts in the spring.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be completely wrong.
Totally.
Yeah.
We'll see if we're right. Yeah, and you guys recently had a power outage.
Yes, on Christmas Eve, we had a power outage. Only for a few hours, but they had predicted that it would last significantly longer. Thank God it didn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, Christmas Eve, there was a power outage, which great day for that.
We haven't had a significant one in a while. I think the last one we had lasted like 15 minutes.
See, that would be nice.
And I think it was planned
this time.
Right.
Which, I don't know.
Yeah.
I made sure that my daughter's school that she needs to do today, because she online school, is all done. And she's done for the day and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Early, Thomas is supposed to be getting down like our flashlights and our lanterns and stuff. And then after I'm done here, I'm going to go to the store and grab some like easy, non-heat up foods.
Yep.
Just in case.
Yeah. Yeah, we're probably doing the same thing, going to the store after Michael gets back from his stuff in Albany, because he has an appointment too. And then I'm going to go to the store and get a few grocery stuff, just like quick snacks. Yeah. Basically.
That's what I'm going to do. Go grab a couple things.
Yeah. I feel like it's almost better. Well, I guess I'm trying to think about it. But I feel like it's almost better to have a power outage in the winter.
When it's cold?
Yeah, but then you can layer. When it's in the summer,
I mean,
then you're hot as balls. Your AC's off.
Okay.
But I guess the upside to it being in the summer is you could go outside and it's lighter for longer, so then you still have the light.
Yeah.
And you can go to like the lake or something.
I think the only time that it's ever like a good thing in the winter, or not a good thing per se, but like if you happen to have a fireplace.
True.
Which we do not.
True.
Then sure.
Yeah.
Because you can just huddle up by the fire. I don't got one.
Val has a fireplace. She doesn't even use any kind of heating in her house except her wood stove.
I had a situation like that once. I hated it.
Really?
Yeah. I think the house layout just wasn't great. And so the room that had the wood stove in it would get nice and warm.
Yeah.
But then every other room was freezing.
Oh,
even
really?
if we left the doors open.
Oh, weird.
It was very weird. It was where we lived in Hot Springs.
Hers heats up. It doesn't heat up the upstairs, but she doesn't go up there anyway. But it heats up. I mean, I'm not going in her bedroom. That's downstairs. But it heats up the living room, the kitchen, the dining room.
Yeah, that's not what we experienced in the place. We didn't. That was the place that we only lived in for a month because the landlord came in. And yeah, that was that place.
Yeah.
And I mean, didn't help that it was in a room that was like right by the front door, and it was like maybe 8 feet away from the front door.
Oh.
And those doors had like major cracks in them, and so there was just
let out a lot of heat.
Yeah, it was badly insulated place. Yeah, it was awful. Ugh.
Yeah, and my parents have a wood stove too. But both those places for us are like 20 minutes away, so I doubt during a power outage I'm going to drive.
Especially because the power outage is going to be caused by a winter storm.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yes, let me go drive 20 minutes away into the woods.
Yeah. So I'll just bundle. I mean, if we have to, if it got like crazy cold, long power outage, we would probably just all bundle, like go into our bedroom, shut the door with the animals, because it gets toasty in there with all of us in there. We don't turn the heat on at night anymore because it's just so warm in our room. Yeah.
That's probably what we'd end up doing, is just all going into our room. And calling it.
Yeah.
I mean, thankfully with like younger kids, it's a little bit easier to kind of distract them with literal toys.
Right.
Versus having the older kids who nowadays tend to rely a lot more on electronics.
Right.
Because, I mean, shit, I get bored very, very quickly. I will completely admit to that. I know I'm at least partially addicted to my phone.
Oh, I am too.
You know, I don't have like a job, but I do work in a sense, like, you know, doing the podcast and writing my book and doing, working on like the labor stuff. That's not work, that's more school, but whatever. Right. All of that's online. And so I rely very heavily on my computer. And so I'm like, cool, well, if the power goes out, I don't know if I'm going to be editing this podcast.
Yeah. True. I need to edit. for Monday.
I'm going to try to do that tonight, assuming we have power.
Yeah, I'll probably try to do it tonight too. But yeah, and that's my old car. You could charge in it with the car off.
Oh, interesting.
My current car, you have to turn it on for it to charge.
My current car, you have to turn it on.
Speaking of, I do need to go get gas because I have literally no gas.
That's a good idea. I should go do that today too.
That way I can make sure I can get somewhere if I need to.
Good, smart. Yep. So you had mentioned a minute ago that you had really only experienced like 15 minutes worth of like a power outage, give or take, and it was planned,
Recently.
Right? Recently. Have you had a power outage since having either of your children? And I'm talking more than just like a 15-minute power outage, or really more than an hour.
I think it was just with Maverick. Was that a power outage? I think it was. I think it was a planned one, but it was multiple hours. I think it was 2 hours, and it was in the summer. Mm-hmm. And we had just got our new mattress, and so we had pulled that in, and we laid it in our living room. Why did we lay it in our living room? Oh, because our back bedroom was a lot more hot because we had the AC in there. So from when it was on, it cools down the living room more. And then we laid in the, it was that time. Now I'm trying to think, am I getting my story mixed up?
I have no idea.
I think it was that time. I think that was the time that the power went out. I'm pretty sure it was like a planned thing, and it was like the first summer we had Maverick. Or no, it was the second summer we had Maverick. Yeah, it was the second summer we had Maverick. We got a new mattress. We put it in the living room.
So we already lived here.
Yes.
Why
wasn't there a big...
I don't recall this.
Am I getting this mixed up?
I have no idea.
I swear we had...
I mean, maybe, and I'm just like not remembering
Well,
it.
I know that Remember, I had for like 3 months, one summer, they were having planned power outages because they were working on stuff on my road.
Oh, I do remember that. Yes.
Yeah. I think it was like 1 or 2 hours.
That would explain why I don't remember that very well, because it wouldn't have happened.
It was planned for literally like our area. Like
this area is
literally
always under construction.
Yeah. I know, because then there was more construction when I was pregnant with Quincy. But anyway, and I remember that Michael, that's when he got an infected tooth.
Oh.
And he had a huge abscess. Do you remember when his face was literally like...
Yes.
Massively swollen. And so that's why we were just laying down, because he didn't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to like keep this... What would he have been? 1.5 years? Which that's a crazy age.
That was the power outage that... Okay, I do remember this, because remember I invited you over and I was like, our AC does a really good job cooling everything down. So if you need, let me know.
Yes. Yeah, so it was that one. Okay. My stories, they work.
You kicked it in. It's there now. I remember this now.
Yeah. And I think we ended up we went to Safeway for a little bit just to kind of walk around in like a cool area. And we got Maverick popsicles. I think that was his first time ever having popsicles. And we just tried to, it was only 2 hours, but I think it was 2 hours. I don't remember it being super long. I just remember it being long enough that we were like, okay, it's hot as balls in here.
Yeah.
Because it was like in the dead of summer.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So that's probably my only experience that I can remember. And we just had Maverick. And I mean, 1.5 years is crazy, but it's also, I mean, you can work. You can work it out.
Mm-hmm. On Christmas Eve, I think it was 3 or 4 hours that we didn't have power.
Mm-hmm.
I think is what it was. And so I want to say that was the longest time that we went without power. We have had other instances where like the power ran out, but it hasn't ran out as if it's just like, oh, yep, it's 3, 2, 1, dark. Okay, cool.
We are out of juice.
Where the power went out.
Yeah.
But honestly, that's like the one that was the most like, it felt detrimental because of what day it happened to have been.
Right.
And all the plans that we had that day. And so if the power goes out the way that they're expecting it to this weekend, which for some reason I'm a little bit skeptical that it's going to go out and be this catastrophic thing that everybody's like, you need to make sure you have like 4 days worth of food and water.
I know.
But I'm like,
yeah.
I'm skeptical.
Yeah.
Around here, there also isn't a ton of snow and stuff. So, I mean, I guess I can understand why someone might freak out. Whereas, like, I mean, I've lived in Montana.
Yeah.
You have snow for months.
Mm-hmm.
There is ice on every single street for months.
Yeah.
And we never lost power.
I think it's just because we're not equipped for it.
Yeah.
So when it comes in, it does cause issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that typically we don't get a lot of snow. When we have bad like winter stuff, usually it's ice.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember
last year with Thomas running into the ditch.
And I think there was one year, it's been several years, but we had a bad ice storm and trees were falling down. And so like a lot of rural places where their power was out because of all these trees coming down from all the ice.
Yeah. And see, that makes sense. And so I can understand like maybe
I think we'll be fine here in town.
Yeah. Especially because, I mean, we're like midtown area. We're not like on like the far outskirts, whereas like your mom's I might be a little bit more worried about.
Yeah.
Since she lives on like the outskirts. Mm-hmm. And I mean like outskirts. She's in the woods parts.
And their power lines are above ground, whereas ours are
below.
Mm-hmm.
Which is better because like
winter or weather doesn't really affect unless it's gonna like knock out one of the
transformers or whatever.
Yeah. Then that's the only time we run into an issue usually.
Which, because ours are underground, like, so are they thinking that it is going to knock out a transformer? Like, what would cause the power outage itself?
I mean, I think they just say that because we live in a rural area. Mm-hmm. And so I think that it's mostly for those people that live in the rural areas. Mm. But, you know, sometimes if their power gets knocked out, they have to shut off the power to fix.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think it's just kind of like hey, heads up, this could affect you. Probably won't, but it could, you know, kind of a thing.
Yeah, so I'm going to go to the store, get some sandwiches, some salads.
Yep.
Easy stuff I can just like very quick pull out of the fridge if I need to.
Yeah. At least in the winter it's cold.
Oh, so you don't have to worry about the fridge stuff as much?
As much as like in the summer.
Oh man, my food's going to spoil. Outside?
Yeah, I'm just going to throw this outside where it's 15 degrees.
Yeah.
Now you bring it back in.
Like, oh, dang it. I got steaks in the fridge. I was going to use those tonight. Oh,
yeah.
Figure that out. Probably going to just still make steaks tonight because I don't think we're going to lose power.
Right, yeah. I don't think that I've ever lost power enough to like spoil anything. I think once actually when I lived with my mom in their old house, I think we did have one power outage that lasted over 24 hours.
You keep bumping it, just barely.
Sorry. I thought I heard it, but I was like, well, I'm just hearing things.
No, you did.
Yeah, I think we had one power outage at my mom's old house where it was like over 24 hours and we ended up having to throw away like milk and cheese and stuff that you don't want that when it gets warm.
No. I think when I was a kid, we had a couple of days. My brain wants to say 2 weeks, but I really don't think it was that long. I think that's like my kid's brain imagining it. But I know for a fact it was at least a couple of days. Mm-hmm. And funny enough, the one thing about that like brings me to whatever is I got so offended when we went to the store. Let me tell you the story. I'll explain why. We went to the store to go get some more wood, right? Because, oh my God, we're city people. We go buy wood at the store.
Yes.
We lived in like an actual city. So like.
Right.
I'm not going to go out into the woods and cut down a tree. One, that would take me 4 hours to get to the woods.
Then you'd probably need a permit to knock down the tree.
Yes. Nobody has a truck to... Oh, actually, my stepdad had a truck. Whatever.
Oh, right.
Not important.
Besides the point.
Completely beside the point. We went to the store to get wood. Okay, to go get firewood. And I don't remember what my mom or my stepdad or whoever had asked the store clerk person. But it was me, my mom, my stepdad, and my little sibling. Okay. I think I was 12 or 13.
Okay.
And I remember the lady like was trying to compliment me. And she was like, oh, I have a daughter about your age, like 9 years old. And I was like, wildly offended. I was like,
no. I'm practically a teenager.
I was like, I am 12 years old, ma'am. I didn't say anything, but I was like taken aback. And for some reason, that's like the memory that sticks in my head is this one time during this power outage, some lady thought I was 3 years younger than I actually was. And I'm going to just be butthurt about it for the rest of my life.
You probably already felt like overwhelmed by the power outage.
Yeah. And now I still get misaged.
I feel like a power
I don't know
outage
what
is
the word for that would
right.
be. Misaged, I guess.
Ageist. I'm just kidding.
What the heck would you call this? She got my age. Like, people get my age wrong all the time. People think I'm like 17, 18. I've had some people ask me if I'm like in my 30s. I'm like, do I look like I'm in my 30s? And they say, no, it's based on personality. But so nobody knows how old I am. I am 25.
There you go.
In case anybody's curious.
I feel like a power outage is kind of like it can be a good thing.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it can bring everybody closer.
Yeah, you're forced to figure out to do something together. Yeah, nobody can just turn on a TV.
Exactly.
Nobody can. I mean, you can be on your phone until it dies, obviously.
Yeah.
But you also kind of want to save the juice for emergencies.
Mm-hmm.
There's not anything you can really go do. Mm-hmm. Especially if it's a winter storm.
Yeah.
You're not going to want to just, let's go drive into the bowling alley. Oh, wait, they don't have power either. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
There's not much to do.
That's got to be the shitty thing about how everything is so reliant on electricity now because, like, you don't need power to bowl.
Right.
But you do.
Right.
Nowadays, anyways.
Yeah.
Like, they're not, like... Mm-hmm. Because you can keep score on a piece of paper. You can go manually set everything up. But that's not how it works anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, realistically, an activity that shouldn't require electricity now does. And therefore is null and void.
Yep.
But, like, you can play board games at home. Everybody gets to actually play with their literal toys, assuming you have light, which that's the other crappy thing about winter power outages. You have no light at like 4 p.m.
Yeah. Well, and like a day like today, it's very overcast.
Yes, it's already not that bright. Like if I were to turn these lights off,
it'd be dark in here.
Even if I opened up the curtain, it wouldn't be all that bright. You wouldn't see us very well.
Maverick woke up this morning and he opened up our curtains, which he always does when he wakes up. And he opened up the door and Michael rolled over and he was like, why is he up so early today? And I was like, babe, it's like 7:45. He's not up that early. And he was like, oh, it's just really dark in here. Mm-hmm. Yep, it's overcast.
Yep. And so it's like, the other thing too with power outages is food. Mm-hmm. Is what do we make food? And like I said, there's sandwiches. Mm-hmm. It's like, but if you're eating sandwiches 2 meals a day because it's all you got, and like we thankfully do have a camp stove.
Yeah.
Like the gas powered ones. So, we were like, well, if we do lose power, we can make like soup or chili or something on that thing if I need to. Cool, great, got it.
Right. But you also don't want to run that a whole lot in your house because that's gas in your house.
Yeah.
And you don't want to get like too much CO2 in your house. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think the hardest thing is the bathroom.
Yes.
Especially because one of our bathrooms has a window, but the other one doesn't. And so if it's dark, it's dark for both of them. Mm-hmm. But bringing your lantern in to go to the bathroom, and then you can't shower because your water heater is not working unless you have a gas one. Mm-hmm. I don't. So there goes hot showers.
Looks like I'll be taking a shower tonight.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, a shower is not the end of the world for like a day or two, but after that, I mean, you don't want a shower.
Yeah, oh, stinky. And baby wipes.
Yep. Got extra of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like, not to mention that there's like people who really do need electricity. I've always wondered what people who have to be like on the oxygen tanks and stuff that like, are electric, but how
like
do
a concentrator.
Those... Yes.
Yeah.
How do those people do?
They have to have generators.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because generators are a thing.
Mm-hmm. We've thought about getting one. They have like solar powered generators.
Mm-hmm.
We've thought about saving up money and getting one just for like emergency stuff, not using it like
Yeah. I
power
love
goes
being
out,
in
let's
an
just
apartment.
charge up. Yeah. But they have gas ones too.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff.
Much gas right now. They're expensive as shit.
Yes, it is. Yeah, so we think that the solar power one would probably be better because then you could use it literally. I mean, as long as you have enough light and it's charged up, you keep it charged.
Love Overcast for that.
I know, yeah.
Imagine if you had like, if it just like ran out, whatever, because of it being so overcast, and then you're like, go to run it, and you're like, nope, we haven't had sunlight in 3 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, thankfully it has to be pretty dark for at least, well, we have solar cameras. 3 of our cameras are solar powered. And those, even through overcast days, they stay charged. But we have one that like literally if you don't angle it in the exact spot, it won't catch enough sun throughout the day.
Yeah, one of our cameras was solar powered, but the apartment was like, you can't have this here, and so we had to take it down.
Lame. I know. So much easier because then you don't have to charge it. So we have 3 we have to take down to charge, and 3 that we just leave up in our solar.
Yep, love that.
Yeah.
But like, so what are some things that like if let's say the power outage does happen, like they predict, because I imagine if it's going to happen, it's going to be tomorrow.
Probably.
Right? Realistically.
Yeah.
What would be your like plan for the day to try to keep your 2 kids entertained? Thankfully, yours are pretty young. I've got a 6-year-old.
Yeah. Probably, I mean, we've cut down TV time so much that I think that they would be okay. I mean, Quincy would be totally fine because she doesn't even watch TV at all.
Ellie too.
But I mean, Maverick might get a little bored. But I think because we also wouldn't have like electronical entertainment. Electrical, thank you.
Electronical. New word.
Electrical entertainment. I think we would be also more inclined to like get down and play more. So I think we would probably just hang out and play, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Stay bundled if we needed to stay bundled. I mean, I think that both of our laptops are charged, so I guess we could pop in a DVD.
Worst case, yeah.
Yeah. It'll probably stay charged enough for that.
Oh,
we used to take my laptop camping, and we would watch movies on that.
Yeah, this one will stay charged for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, if you can see, we've been recording for 45 minutes, and it's barely got a ding to the power.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So this one, this would last a movie or 2 if I needed to.
Yeah.
It's that, like, once it gets dark.
Yeah.
That's when it becomes a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes. That's when it's like, okay.
Oh, and bedtime, it would be possibly a slight issue for us.
Because of night lights?
Well, it's not so much the nightlight, it's the sound machine. They both have sound machines. If it is dead silent, they will wake up.
Yeah. Honestly, that would be a situation where we'd be having a slumber party in Mom and Dad's room or in the living room.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably exactly what's going to happen if we end up having a power outage. Is that it'll be in sleepover.
Yeah. I mean, Quincy already sleeps with us, but she'll wake up when there's no sound. You cut off the sound and she... You're like, okay, turn that back on.
Yeah, thankfully that's not quite what it is for us. They can kind of handle not having a ton of sound. It's more so our bed squeaks. And so trying to get up
right
without waking the kids is hard, and our floor squeaks, and so you're like, we strategically step over certain areas just to try to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then not to mention, like, if you just happen to have a little bit of a mess and you're like, step, 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 kick something, it runs into something else, and then you end up bonking your knee and you're like, fuck.
I don't know how many times, just this morning when Maverick came into our bed at like 5:45, or he was in his room, and I had woken up a little bit and I thought there was a light on outside because our door was shut, but I could see some light coming from the top of the door. And I was like, that's weird, because because it's not that light outside. And I was like, well, whatever. Close my eyes, and literally like less than 5 minutes later, Mommy! And I was like, Michael. And he went out there, and he was like, why do you have your light on? He's like, I peed in my bed. And he was like, oh, okay, let's get you cleaned up. Do you need to go more? No, just want Mommy. And then so he carried him into our bed, and Michael kicked the bed frame thing. He's like, ah, fuck. Just like, what is going on?
Just chaos ensues.
Yeah. And then from there until about 7:30, 7:45, when Maverick got up, I was sandwiched between two children who were both trying to steal my blanket.
Sounds about right.
Because they like to cuddle under my blanket to stay warm.
Oh, mine will steal my blanket to be on top of it.
Oh, no.
My kids don't like being under the blankets. None of them.
Quincy just started like 3 days ago.
It would be nice if Ellie would.
I'm like, okay, sure, if you need a little blanket, I'll share my blanket. But then Maverick comes in and he wants blanket. And then so I turn it the...
Long ways?
Yeah. So then my feet are hanging out of the blanket, but at least they're covered. And then I'm like trying to like kind of catty corner and put my feet under Michael's blanket.
Yep.
It was a struggle this morning.
Sounds about right.
But yeah. Let's hope the power doesn't go out.
I'm honestly thinking it's not going to, realistically,
Mm-hmm.
and that it's just going to be a big fuss for no reason. But if it does, having kids, especially young kids, that are so used to the things that they do, can be difficult. And that'll be interesting if it is more than just a few hours of trying to, especially if it's more than a few hours and it's getting dark.
Right.
That'll be kind of interesting to see how things are different than what I anticipate. Mm-hmm. Because I would like to think that we'd be able to pull off, playing games and stuff. And if it's tomorrow, like if we lose power tomorrow, my husband's going to be at work, assuming he can get to work with the ice.
Yeah.
Which again, chains, he's got them now.
Right.
Like I said, last year he slid into a ditch while I was on the phone with him. So it was funny. So I heard the whole thing happening, which let me tell you that story really quick because it's kind of funny. So he had called me on his way to work. Mm-hmm. And this was when he worked at Target.
Oh, right.
So he had called me on the way to work, and he was like, oh yeah, I just wanted to call and talk because I just saw a bunch of people in a ditch in the way that I was going to go. So I decided to go a different way, and I'm just calling to chat. And then all of a sudden I hear, no, shit, fuck. Okay, I'm in a ditch. I was like, what? What do you mean you're in a ditch?
Did you have to get a tow truck? I can't remember.
Yes, he had to wait or I think a friend ended up being able to tow him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was like going so slow.
Oh.
And then he ended up just like being able to turn around and come home.
Yeah.
Once he was able to get pulled out. And I don't think, because I think we had called a tow truck, but they were like, it's going to be like 6 hours.
Because everybody was needing a tow truck.
Everybody was needing a tow truck.
Yeah.
And and then a friend was like, here, let me help you get out. And so I think they like pulled.
Just hooked him up and pulled him
which
out.
I'm surprised that they were even able to do that.
Yeah.
But it was like two guys in a truck that he had said, he knew, I think one of them, one of the people in the truck, he didn't know, and the two guys did not know each other. Essentially, one guy had decided to go out because he had good tires, go out and rescue people because he knew that the tow trucks were taking forever.
Right.
And then one guy who he rescued offered to join him.
Oh, and help.
And so now these two guys who don't know each other, who like literally just met maybe within an hour, are now going around and saving people in the ditch. And so that's what I
love about this area.
I love that. It's adorable.
Those people.
Yes. And so he ended up coming home. So we'll see if, that happens tomorrow.
Yeah. I guess you'll find out next week if we remember to update you.
Yes, if we remember to update you.
I mean, it's way past for you guys, so it's not like you're sitting on pins and needles.
For you, this was a month ago.
Yeah.
For us, it has yet
current.
to happen. Which, fun.
Yeah.
But I know that I'm going to be probably reading a book.
Yep.
Once it gets dark, playing games with the kids. Hopefully they're playing with toys in a way that like works
During
for
the
everybody.
day, yeah.
We have a single lantern, and then we have flashlights. So we'll see.
Yeah. I think we have a couple lanterns, but I think one of them might be a gas one, and I don't really want to use that one unless we absolutely have to.
Oh, ours isn't a gas. Ours is battery.
Yeah.
And then we have some candles.
We have candles.
But, I mean, candles don't really light up very much.
No. You have to use quite a few.
Yeah. So,
we'll see.
That's what we're doing.
Hopefully I keep my phone charged, because that's where I read my book right now. It's on my Kindle on my phone.
I'm going to put my Kindle on the charger once I get home.
Yeah.
Because that lasts forever.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
And I don't need a light for that.
I guess I could find my actual Kindle and charge it, so I at least have that just in case.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I think that wraps it up.
I think so. We'll see you guys next week, and if we remember, we'll give you an update. I mean,
if we're not frozen popsicles.
If we're not frozen popsicles. Hopefully the video that's supposed to go out on Monday, which would be the 15th, the day trip episode. Hopefully that goes out on time.
Yeah.
If it's late, this is why. That means that we probably did lose power.
And we procrastinated to the end of the week, but that's not here or there.
This upcoming week, I'm planning on trying to
bust them out.
Because remember, I had said at one point in time that I was ahead, that I got all of it recorded. I got all of it, whatever, and then I slacked because I was like, I can afford to slack, and then I kept.
Mm-hmm. I never got ahead. There was one week that I edited, I think, before you in the last few months, and it was just a one-off.
Yeah.
But since then, no, I have not.
Yep, I need to just bust butt and get it done. And I mean, now that I'm done with the audiobook for Kate, I'm completely done. It's 100% given back to the narrator.
That's exciting.
I'm just waiting for her to choose the sample and then do the opening and closing credits, and then it gets to go out into the world.
That's exciting.
So hopefully by next week, that might be a win, is that it is now out into the world.
There you go.
We'll see. I don't know officially what day it's going to come out, but I mean, if you're listening to this, it's probably already out.
Right.
It's an audiobook. On Audible only, sorry. I don't have anywhere else to go.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
that's exciting.
Yep. But so that's all done. And so now I get to solely focus on writing the sequel, finishing it up. I'm like, I know I keep saying that I'm almost done, but like I truly am actually almost done. I'm on like the last 3 chapters now, so I'm getting there.
Yes.
And now I get to focus on getting back on track. I'm referencing because there's a calendar on the wall over here, so referencing over there. So yeah. Yep. Well, we'll see you guys next week. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.